Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we'll meet Thomas Rausch, founder of Animated, who is taking the world of collectibles to a whole new level using New Jersey icons. But first, Andrew and Lydia Holtz, Maggie Kadurka's friends and advocates for Dancers Care Foundation, joins us to share Maggie, the Bald Ballerina's story. This New Jersey-based foundation has been making a huge impact since 2002, raising over $2.6 million to fund cancer research and support young dancers battling cancer. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry over the loss of your dear friend, Maggie, the Bald Ballerina.
Thank you.
Before we dive into your advocacy work, share what a soul and a joy Maggie was.
Maggie was such a beautiful soul, and she had sort of a quiet resilience about her. And I think even when I watched her dance, there was this power that was so reserved, and just it translated into everything she did, into her advocacy for metastatic breast cancer. She was, very, as a dancer, we're used to our body speaking. And I think, public speaking was not really her thing, but she was so brave, and she went out and she spoke all across the world at Dancers Care Foundation and was really advocating for cancer research and for all the dancers out there.
Yeah, and she always did everything in service of others. It was never about her. It was constantly thinking of other people. How can I help? How can I help? Even when she's hooked up to all these IVs and getting these treatments for 8 hours a day or however long she's there, she's thinking of her next thing. How can I help another dancer? How can I help raise more money? How can I help stop this disease? And she just never tired. No matter how tired she may have been, she would just keep going and going and going. And over the years, getting to know her, and I mean, we know Maggie now. We had met her, maybe 9 years ago, something like that.
How did you guys meet?
Through Dancers Care Foundation and Starbound National Talent Competition. Sandy Coit, the owner and founder of both, brought Maggie in for one of our Dancers Care Foundation events, and right then and there, Maggie became a recurring face at all of these events. And within that next year, she really became the face of the Dancers Care Foundation, because one of the unique things that Sandra Coit had set up with the Dancers Care Foundation is we're raising money for cancer research. And typically when you have a charity, these contributions come in, and then your payroll over here, or you're paying this over here, you're paying this over here. Every penny, every single penny went straight to the research facility. And if it cost Sandy money to rent a theater, that came out of her pocket. It didn't come out of the donations. So literally every penny that was raised through Dancers Care Foundation has gone to a research lab, Weill Cornell Research in New York City, under the supervision of Dr. Thomas Fahey, who's the head of the endocrine surgery and research in New York. So that money makes a big difference, and we got to see that money make a difference. And then when Maggie became involved, she had all these new ideas. And she said, I remember one time she came to Sandy and I and said, let's do a calendar, a Dancers Care Foundation calendar, where we go and we photograph these beautiful dancers all over the country, and we sell this calendar, and all the proceeds go to cancer research. And we did that for a few years.
And you did the photography?
I did the photography. And Maggie was obviously, she was in the calendar every year. So we got, we must have done a dozen photo shoots with Maggie over the years, either in my studio, in our apartment when we used to live in Jersey City, and when we would travel all over the country. And so I got to see Maggie blossom into this voice. Like Lydia was saying earlier, she was terrified to speak in public. at first. And she kind of just did, you know, begrudgingly, and then by the end of it, she got that mic, and she would get up in front of 1,000 people on a stage and tell her story. And that's what was so beautiful, because anybody can relate to it. She's 23 years old.
I was just going to say, I mean, breast cancer, unfortunately, 1 in 8 women get diagnosed, and it's becoming more prevalent in younger and younger women. I mean, but at 23, you're not thinking of that.
No, and she had a beautiful, you know, career ahead of her, and, you know, she just didn't let that diagnosis deter her. You know, she really just made this legacy for herself, and the way that she showed up for, you know, saying that no one is immune, you're never too young, you're never too healthy. She was very healthy, very thin, fit dancer, and just wanted to get the message out there. And for myself, my mom had breast cancer, my aunt had breast cancer, so this really affected me, and we had many conversations, you know, over the years. And Maggie had a concert. No One Can Survive Alone was the title, and we would go down to Maryland, her hometown, and perform, and she would get all of these dancers from all over the world to perform and to offset the medical bills, and it was just the art that came from this whole movement. And like Andrew was saying, with the big, you know, cancer foundations, you don't know where your money is going, and I think Maggie really, she understood that very well, and she, with Dancers Care, came up with this Angels program where she would pick young dancers
that had cancer,
and the money was going directly to help them. And I mean,
well, no wonder
what a
this
miracle.
foundation that Sandy started has raised millions, because when you have an advocate and a spokesperson like that, I mean, of course, everyone's going to come out and support.
Yeah, it was impressive. And the fact that she was able to, you know, help raise this money and give it to people that actually need it. We're talking young dancers. Some of these were kids, and she was able to give them a check for $10,000 or more to help with their treatments, because insurance doesn't cover all these things. People are under this assumption, oh, you have insurance, everything is paid. That is not the case. They cover a portion of it, but you're left to cover the tab, and you could go in for one treatment. It could be thousands and thousands of dollars to go in there for one day, and you have to do this every week, every month for years, and there's just not that help. So when Maggie initiated this Angels part of the Dancers Care Foundation, to be able to give that money to dancers that really needed it had a huge impact on a lot of people's lives. And Sandy, with the Dancers Care Foundation, is continuing that, you know, to keep Maggie's legacy going. And they're about to give $40,000 to 4 different dancers soon, but they still do all of these fundraising events, and every penny of it is going where it should.
Maggie sadly passed away December of 2024.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right up until the end, was she lending herself to the organization and raising funds and awareness?
You know, I think towards the end, things became very difficult for her, as her, you know, medically she was just not doing as well.
She had already surpassed all the odds. You know, they gave her 6 months to live at 23.
Yeah.
And she died at 33.
That's 10 years.
So, I mean, she was working closely with a team of doctors, and I know I talk about resiliency like this. She was going in for these infusions and treatments all the time just to be, I mean, I'm exhausted just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much, and her mother was just such an amazing woman to just go on this journey and
Mother went
seek out all this new research and talk to doctors and, you know, do all of this. It was incredible. And Maggie just had a great quality of life also. Like, she loved her dogs. She had these Poms, and
Disney World.
and she would do the competitions. with the dogs and everything, and she loved Disney World, and she had, you know, I don't want people to think that she didn't have just a great quality of life, because in those 10 years, I think she really lived lifetimes.
Well,
Oh,
you
yeah.
ballerinas, I mean, you are elegant beyond, but you are some of the strongest people physically.
It's true.
And I think that probably helped carry her through.
Absolutely, 100%.
And throughout all of it, you know, even when Maggie was her sickest towards those last like month or two, she still was very active on her social media page, on her Instagram and on Facebook, and telling people the journey and what she's going through.
Yeah.
And when I found out that, you know, things were declining, and I, of course, sent her a text right away and said I was thinking about her, and I still teach, and I dedicated my whole ballet class. I said, you know, this is my friend's story, and we're going to dance for her today. And I was just like, there was not a dry eye in the place. And I texted her, and I said, I'm thinking about you, and, you know, how much you inspire me. Sorry. And she said, you know, I hope to make it to New Jersey soon. You know, she was just so positive, even at the end.
You mentioned that pretty soon Dancers Care Foundation is set to award $40,000 to 4 deserving ballerinas. What else is in the plans for the foundation?
Well, every year, Dancers Care Foundation puts on a competition where all of the entry fees, every dollar that comes in, all goes to cancer research. The entire staff donates their time. And then throughout the year, during the Starbound dance competition season, we'll have these portions of the show, like Miss Star of Hope, which is a part of the show where dancers are, it's all the money goes to cancer research. A dancer may dance because they lost a grandparent or a friend or a parent to cancer. So there's always those moments to honor people who have lost family members to cancer. There's you know, several other ways to raise the money through the Angels program, where we ask people in the audience, will you donate to a dancer who needs this money to survive?
And they can apply online too. There's a link that on
Where do people go to apply?
Yeah,
dancerscare.org.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's always something going on.
There's always something going on.
Always.
And by the way, we're mentioning the name Starbound.
Yes.
And people watching are probably wondering, how is that related? And what people don't realize is that Starbound is responsible for gathering the nation's top dancers. And it's a company based
Yes.
right here in the Garden State.
Yeah. Yeah, everything has been out of New Jersey through and through. Although the wonderful thing about Starbound National Talent Competition and Dancers Care Foundation is, yeah, they started in New Jersey, they grew in New Jersey, but they've become national.
Oh, yeah.
They're in just about every single
And what
state
does
all year.
Starbound do? What do they do?
Starbound hosts talent competitions. So dancers from all over the country will gather and perform and compete on a stage. And that's why Maggie fit in so well, because she was that kid growing up. She was on these competition stages, dancing and performing, and this gave her the perfect audience to speak to kids age 4 to 5 all the way up to 18, 19 years old and say, hey, I was 23 years old when I got diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. I have no history of cancer in my family. I'm healthy, and this could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
We need to be there for each other. We need to educate. We need to fund these research facilities, make sure that the money we're raising is going directly to the source so they can do the work that they need to help get rid of this terrible disease. And she had a huge impact doing that. I mean, just alone from Maggie's beginning with Dancers Care, she helped raise $1.5 million.
Yeah,
during
that's
those
what
years.
skyrocketed what I said at the top of the segment. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
over 2 million since 2002, but it was
Right.
her that really catapulted
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
and the mission. Well, this was so special. I'm so happy that Sandy and my sister-in-law, Ariella Latino, brought us together here today to just carry on the Bald Ballerina's legacy. And Maggie sounded like such a cool girl. And thank you so much for being here today. I know it was a difficult conversation, but she's looking down right now. So proud.
Absolutely.
Yes.
One more time, where can people find out more about Starbound and Dancers Care?
Starbound has their website, starbound.net, which you can also link to Dancers Care from there. But I encourage everybody to go to dancerscare.org and see what you can do to help. Even if it's a donation, if there's a place that wants to host an event for Dancers Care, because it's an authentic charity.
Right.
And I've never seen another charity that does what they do and are so dedicated to cancer research.
Yeah, and it's an interesting angle for raising
For
awareness
dancers,
with
yeah.
dancers, with beautiful ballerinas and all kinds of performative art. You just don't hear about it. So I just think it's so cool that Sandy and the crew parlayed all of their business success into this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Welcome.
you for having
Thank you for
us.
having us.
Food brings people together. On Cooking with Copel, we combine culinary creativity with good conversation. This spring, we've invited all the candidates for governor to come into the Montclair kitchen, teach me to cook their favorite dish, and give the people of New Jersey a chance to get to know the individuals who would lead our state. It's going to be a fun and exciting way to get really involved in the democratic process. Can't wait to see you there.
Thomas Rausch is the founder of Animated, a company that's combining art, music, and movies into next-gen collectibles. Thomas, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You came on a year ago when we were still in the double box world, right? Post-COVID. And you have a success story which led you here today.
So first time I was on, I had just discovered this new groundbreaking way to take art and bring it to life with a phone. And from that, I had a number of opportunities because I was on your show and people saw the clip, and I was contacted by different media outlets to partner with them, as well as a really big connection in the music world to kind of bring this stuff to the next level.
All because your wife posted the clip on Facebook.
All because she clipped it on Facebook, and actually a high school friend from Manalapan High School who lives out in Los Angeles right now saw the clip and contacted my wife and said, hey, would you ever want to do something in music? And I love music, so for me it was a no-brainer.
I am just so happy that our little show here can help someone like you further their career. And what a product you are bringing into studio today. Tell us all about what this is.
Thank you. So Animated Collectibles is a brand new form of collectibles. So for years, the collectible industry has always been signed items, it's been posters, it's been Funko Pops, things like that. And collectibles are a way for people to kind of bring back an emotional time in their life, right? Whether they relate to a baseball player or they relate to a movie. So I was always drawn to that. So my goal was, hey, how do I take that and make something new with this art form that I created? So the way Animated works is you don't need an app, you don't need anything else but your phone, which everybody else has on them all the time, right? It's an extension of yourself now. You scan the QR code, and then you just hold your phone up to the artwork, and it comes to life. So it animates and plays sound. So this is kind of a brand new, even if you think about art, right? Art has been around for years, and it's on your wall, and you look at it, and you admire it, but you're never able to really deliver this experience. So as an artist, for me, it's an amazing thing to be able to evoke that extra level of emotion of not just sight, but sound.
What is the technology?
So the technology is all web-based, really. So augmented reality has been around for a long time. People have been used to seeing it maybe for Pokemon, right? For example, Pokemon Go was something that was out a long time ago, and people were searching with their phones to try to find these things. That's the same technology. It's just the way that it's applied. So instead of applying it with a 3D character that's in space, I actually take the video and animation and map it to the flat surface. So it feels less obtrusive, a little less hokey, and really feels more like art.
How long does it take you to make one of these postcards?
It depends. It depends. So some of these start as original paintings, and then we shrink them down. So if it's an original painting, that can take me maybe a week sometimes, from concept to creating the artwork, to then adding the music, to then adding the technology on top of it. Other ones take a little bit less time if we're working with licensed products, if they're movie posters or things like that, where we just need to layer on top. But I would say in general, the shortest time it would take is 3 days. The longest, some have taken up to a month with feedback from the people that we're working with.
So you brought in more cards over there because you have something very exciting coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mentioned the music connection.
Mm-hmm.
So we have several different artists that we're working with. I actually felt like a kid in a candy store because growing up, my dad was a musician as well. So music was always very close to me. And, you know, they kind of asked, I had an opportunity to work with whoever I wanted. So I put out a wish list and was able to show it to people, and I've got an overwhelming response. So we have some people lined up like Bob Marley, Queen, Prince.
And what are you going to be doing with these artists? How are you showcasing them?
So we collaborate. I collaborate directly with them. So I was on a call with the Marleys, and they were very receptive to the process, because you have to imagine, everyone's seen everything that's been out on Bob Marley already. So how do they bring something new to the market? So they went through tons of footage and things that they had, and they gave me handwritten lyrics, and they gave me video clips of him in studio doing certain things. And then I was able to take those to create something original and brand new that no one's ever seen before.
Wow. And again, because I want people to understand, all you need is your cell phone to put up in front of these paintings. It'll capture the QR code, and then they all come to life. Their lyrics, their videos, their voices, their everything.
Yes, and you can even do some things where behind the scenes almost, where you see a moment in time or a concert, and you can have the story of that artist or that athlete or that musician or even actor talking about that experience. So you can integrate so many different levels of content that it's really a creative process that we go back and forth, and it's fun. To me, that's the best part, is really just coming up with what are we going to do. And then the execution, of course, is I get to go in the studio and do that, but the collaboration is really amazing, being able to collaborate with this level of artists.
The next time you come in, I hope you are coming in with sports collectibles like this, because I'm a big Yankee fan. So I can imagine big, giant posters of Yogi Berra and Joe DiMaggio, where people just with the QR code can scan it and then they come to life. And you hear never before stories and all of that. I mean, that would be so cool.
It's funny you said that, and even we're talking with some of the legendary Yankees, some of the announcers, some of the voices of the game. So you don't only imagine seeing a moment in time, whether it be Derek Jeter's 3,000th hit or whatever it may be, and actually hearing the call and reliving that moment. I know I'm a major sports fan, so I get chills just when I hear these guys make the calls. So if you can combine that and relive that moment as a sports fan, I think it's going to be really cool. So I'll make sure I do a couple of Yankees for you.
You have to do just don't do 2004.
Okay.
And don't do the 5th inning of this past World Series.
No problem.
Because that was a nightmare.
It was. Yes, it was.
I don't want to relive that ever, whether it's here or on my phone. So. Where can people find out more about you and to purchase some of your art?
So you can go on animated.com. That's the website, and everything is listed there. We actually have some sports art up there right now. We have the cartoons, the movie posters, the music stuff will be coming there as well. Awesome. And actually, one of the things we talked about last time as well was how we work very closely with charities, and we're continuing to do that. So off of the last show, we had several charities reach out to us, and we collaborated with them, and we donated pieces they were given away for auctions, or they sold them, and half of the money went back to charity. So we're looking to continue to do that as well. And there'll be a space on the website for that as well. So if you go to animated.com and go to the footer and look for partnerships and charities, you can just reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to work with, especially any New Jersey company. A lot of them were schools, so local schools. I don't know if I can drop each one name of the school.
Schools, by the way, they should utilize this technology, because you can take a boring history subject and bring it to life in such a cool way where the kids will gravitate towards.
What's amazing is how, so the adults react to this, the kids flip over this. The kids get it instantly. So I would love to do that as well. I can almost see murals or huge paintings in classrooms that brought things to life. I was actually recently at a hospital too and visiting there in the Children's Center, and I had spoken to someone there because to me, I think if I could create some type of mural that the kids could come over to and experience it with their phone and bring a little bit of joy to them, to me, I think that would be a really cool collaboration and something that I'm looking forward to doing.
Yeah. Hey, we live on our phones so much. It's better than mindless scrolling, right?
That's
Let's
true.
learn something and just experience something really cool. Thomas, thank you so much for coming back here today on Your New Jersey.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.
Food brings people together. On Cooking with Copel, we combine culinary creativity with good conversation. This spring, we've invited all the candidates for governor to come into the Montclair kitchen, teach me to cook their favorite dish, and give the people of New Jersey a chance to get to know the individuals who would lead our state. It's going to be a fun and exciting way to get really involved in the democratic process. Can't wait to see you there.